On this day, national guests from about 158 countries visited Japan to attend the accession to the throne of the Heisei Emperor. Including representatives of international institutions, the number of guests totals some 2,500. Here, one delegate arrives after another at the Imperial Hotel where they will be housed. President Vígdís of the Iceland Republic is both very intelligent and elegant. This is her third term as president. This visit is, of course, as a national guest to attend the accession to the throne of the Heisei Emperor. But in addition, the visit is also to attend the Iceland Fair 90, which coincides with the enthronement. Here is President Vígdís in conference with sponsors of the event, from the Sports Nippon newspaper company, including the company president. Smiling throughout, she leaves behind a warm and keenly intellectual presence. The formal enthronement ceremony, central in the accession to the throne, is a national event. Japanese and foreign guests throng, one after another, into the imperial palace, wearing their colorful traditional national costumes. President Vígdís, garbed in an elegant blue dress, certainly draws attention as a female president. The resplendent and elegant ceremony is carried out in solemnity. The lines of foreign national representatives are in contrast to the seriousness of the solemn traditional ceremony. The ceremony lasts about 30 minutes, and the emperor, dressed in an ancient robe, makes a declaration from the Takamikura, the throne in the Pine Room.
日本国および日本国民統合の象徴としての務めを果たすことを誓い、
天皇陛下万歳。
44 cars, white police motorbikes included, follow in procession, and the royal parade of 4.4 kilometers proceeds from the Imperial Palace to the Akasaka Palace. President Vígdís, who gives an impression of fashion and elegance, was elected the world's first president after an overwhelming victory in a direct election. 7 p.m., as the sunlight dims and the neons light up to decorate the city by night, President Vígdís is attending a banquet held at the Homei Den of the Imperial Palace. The emperor greets guests one at a time. President Vígdís is talking with the Empress. The grand banquet, hosting 350 guests from throughout the world, is Japanese cuisine. On the following day, there is a party hosted by Prime Minister Kaifu. A great deal of interest is shown in the traditional Japanese form of theater, kabuki. The following day, November 14th, the sky is clear and a gentle breeze is blowing. The head office of the Sports Nippon newspaper looks particularly bright, bathed in autumn light. With her schedule as a state representative to the imperial enthronement finished, today President Vígdís is visiting the head office of Echujima. Company President Makiuchi, executives, and all members of the staff are at attention awaiting the President, but her arrival is a little later than scheduled. At last, the President's car arrives. She was delayed 30 minutes due to traffic congestion. The President, too, was probably surprised by the terrible condition of Tokyo traffic. As President Vígdís alights from the car, she is met by President Makiuchi and executives. They greet one another with a firm handshake. Later, President Vígdís embarks upon her visit to the Tokyo head office of Sports Nippon. President Vígdís, wearing a white dress, is welcomed by the company's neatly attired employees. Smiling brightly and with a faintly elegant air, the President and her party move towards the entrance hall. It is exceptional for a head of state to pay a visit to a private corporation, especially a newspaper company. Here, President Vígdís is presenting a book to President Makiuchi.
It is translated into Japanese.
The book closely details the history and customs of Iceland. The President says that Iceland also holds traditions to be very important, and they hold Japan's traditions in great respect. Also, in future, Iceland would also like to take the opportunity to further strengthen exchange in all areas. Welcomed with applause wherever she went, smiling constantly, President Vígdís responded generously, greeting employees.
スポニチにとっても京日印刷にとっても大変光栄なことであり、有意義なことであると思います。スポニチ統日の写真の中で輝かしい1ページを記録するものと思います。
In her greeting address, President Vígdís first mentioned that she admired the intellectual atmosphere of the office and commented that wherever one went throughout the world, it took intelligent people to come together to edit newspapers. While it is her third visit to Japan, each time she comes, the esteem in which she holds the country deepens. The address drew the applause of the employees. President's precious time was used energetically, and she showed deep interest as she made the rounds of the office. The employees welcomed her with generous applause. The President was particularly interested in the latest computer-controlled production system. Showing an expression of surprise at the 3,300-character keyboard in operation, she made the joke that she too would also like to be able to type in the same way. This made everyone laugh, and she passed on words of encouragement to the female employees. President Vígdís, recognized for her love of learning, gave the impression of having great powers of discernment. In her visit to the printing department, in which she has a keen interest, the President was particularly interested in the special multicolor printing, particularly its scale, and a special dummy run of the newspaper, celebrating the President's visit to the head office, catches her eye, making her very surprised. Although the voice of the interpreter is drowned out by the sound of the largest rotary press in East Asia, President Vígdís continues enthusiastically to ask questions. After the tour, she is taking a breather in the lounge. A portrait of a celestial goddess is presented to the President in commemoration of her visit to the Tokyo head office of the Sports Nippon newspaper. The President gazes at the portrait of the celestial goddess, which has a visionary mood brought out in bright colors. Then the President sets out for the venue where the pre-opening evening function for the Iceland Fair 90 is to be held. The plan for Iceland Fair 90 is designed as a type of intellectual cultural event. Furthermore, the aim of the sponsors was to bring about understanding of the real value and identity of Iceland. The visit to Japan of President Vígdís has made this even more effective. Here we start with a fashion show of winter sportswear, including sweaters and the like made in Iceland. models in the show call out to the president, who is familiar and at ease with people wherever she goes, and for a while this livens up the house. The president responds with a warm smile and goes off to rest in a special guest suite for a break. Wherever the president goes, members of her entourage and bodyguards fill the hallways. As part of this cultural event, there is a symposium on raising the position of women in society. President Vígdís is participating in the symposium as a guest panelist, and as you can see even before the event has begun, it promises to be a great success. This symposium is about the advancement of women and women's responsibility in society. A panel discussion is scheduled centered on President Vígdís with other panelists, including Noriko Kimoto and Yoshiko Nishidate.
大統領がご入場になりました。西田さん、木本さんのご紹介をさせていただいてから大統領のご案内というふうに思っていたわけでございますが、とりあえずシンポジウムということで
Not only women are in attendance, but quite a number of men can also be seen in the audience.
Allow me, before I begin talking about myself, to thank you most sincerely for inviting me to
The president's comments are very easy to understand and most interesting about various personal experiences.
I'm here in Japan for the third time, and
At this point, let's introduce the president's personal history. She graduated from the Mentis Colleen College in Reykjavik, her hometown, went to study at the Sorbonne in Paris, and taught at the University of Iceland. Moreover, this very talented woman worked as a theater manager, a tour guide, and a television presentator. This background reflects the very dynamic life she has led.
The best of educations that could be obtained.
The reception party brought together a broad range of guests and celebrities from all quarters. The president's calm composure, even at this lively reception, produces a favorable impression.
本日はご対応中のところ、各も多数の方々のご出席をいただきまして、ビグデス大統領歓迎パーティーを
President Makiuchi of Sports Nippon made a humorous comment in his speech that the reason why the Iceland Fair was appropriate for promoting peace was that the president of Iceland was a woman, which generated laughs from the audience. In a speech delivered in her mother tongue, the president quoted an old Icelandic poem. Friends with shared deep affection meet in a certain place. Even if the place is overgrown with plants, in a short time it may become a road. She was speaking figuratively of the future of exchange between Iceland and Japan.
Open to his house, for the grass grows tall and rank on paths that no man treads.
よろしゅうございましょうか。今日はレディーの方も大勢いらっしゃいますので、ひょっとして、ジュースの方がよろしい方もいらっしゃるかと思いますが、
日本とアイスランドの友好並びに明治から行われますところのアイスランドフェアに乾杯といきたいと思います。ご賞を願います。乾杯。
The reception livened up with the drinking of toasts and the presence of Michio Watanabe, liberal democratic stalwart, was noted. A most enjoyable evening was spent with a great deal of lively talk. The reason the President holds an interest in things Japanese and is more deeply impressed each time she visits Japan is probably due to her strong awareness of traditional culture.
大勢の方とお話をしたいとおっしゃってましたので、この会合の雰囲気になりましたらば、拍手でお送りしたいと思います。リンダさんなどはまだ中央で、モデルグループの方なんでしょうね。
And the following day is the opening day for the Iceland Fair. Miss Linda, chosen as Miss World 1988, is in attendance at the Iceland Fair. The tape cutting is done by President Sato of the Sugar Island Group, the sponsors, and by Mr. Tsuchiya, the President of the House of Councilors of the Diet, while the atmosphere is made all the more attractive by Miss Linda.
アイスランドフェア90オープンでございます。それではどうぞ。
On this day, President Vígdís is headed for the town of Minami-Nasu in Tochigi Prefecture at the invitation of the Sugar Island Group. It is 45 minutes from Ueno to Utsunomiya, but most likely this is not the president's first occasion to travel in the Tohoku Shinkansen. The scenery passes by outside the window, while inside the car, people are busy in conversation and enjoying a very relaxed journey. This trip too will probably go down in the president's album as an interesting memory of her stay in Japan. What might the president be thinking as she looks at the Japanese countryside passing by outside? Her eyes gaze into the gentle and languid autumn rays. Presently, the train carrying the president's party glides into the platform at Utsunomiya. On the platform, President Sato himself has come to greet his guest, and the station is bustling with people holding Icelandic flags. The welcoming party even includes a helicopter. The president waves and smiles back at the people of the town who cheer her off. An hour from Utsunomiya by car, we come across the gateway to the Sugar Town Group. Cleverly set in a wide green field are buildings that might be part of some dream world or fairyland. Children with innocent faces and carrying balloons in both hands await the president's arrival. The limousine carrying the president quietly drives up. The front of the guest house is unexpectedly animated, and the slightly surprised look on the president's face is most memorable. President Vígdís is planting a tree as a memorial of her visit. With the presence of the president, the guest house now has exactly the same atmosphere as the Reykjavik guest house. The tape-cutting ceremony in front of the Minami-Nasu guest house is completed uneventfully, and the multicolored balloons go up together into the autumn sky. It is almost a perfect replica of the guest house in Reykjavik. The president is probably stunned by the similarity of the guest house. The president herself probably thinks she is seeing an illusion. This guest house, built at the cost of many billions of yen, is a symbol of peace and aims to enrich people's spirits.
I believe they're sitting like this, side to side.
Then another welcoming party. Tea ceremony, an element of traditional Japanese culture. Each step in the ceremony is a condensation of spiritual aesthetic beauty. The president is relaxed in her response to the ceremony and seems to enjoy the tea. The corporation, of course, and the locals welcome this visit from the celebrated president. Iceland and Japan are both island and fishing countries. They also have other things in common. The wish from now on is to increase cultural and economic exchange in all areas. There is a gift for President Sato from the people of the Iceland Republic. President Sato shows his appreciation.
迎賓館というのはまさに平和のシンボルになるだろうと思います。そして南なすスピリットという言葉が世界中に広がっていくんではないだろうかと、そういう願いを込めて私は乾杯したいと思います。乾杯。
Fine food from the fields and the sea awaits in abundance. And drinking, eating, and talking, our guests forget that night has fallen. strongest man in the world from Iceland, that country close to the North Pole. The beautiful Miss Linda. The welcoming party for President Vígdís seems to go on endlessly. The one-week stay in Japan of the Iceland Republic's President Vígdís passed in a flash, and the president takes off into the northern sky, leaving behind the impression of a warm, smiling face and a sophisticated and elegant air. Farewell, President Vígdís, until we meet again.